moment of silence. And if y'all would just remember Joey, lift him up in your prayers tonight. Y'all will join with me now. Thank you. Addis is going to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, review and adoption of the agenda. And there are 3 things to add to the agenda. I'm not sure where you want that.
So for 7B, we want to add code enforcement report, Chad Pound. 8G, we want to add review of finance officer, review of review officer, 8G. And then a budget amendment for Project Downey 8F. Is that right?
In the place of 8. I'm just bumping it down.
Right.
Okay.
And I've been asked to make an, also add a closed session for a personnel matter.
Okay, we're going to put that at the end.
Yeah, then let's go after Nessus and before we just go.
Okay. If someone will,
I'll make that motion to accept the agenda
As amended.
as amended.
okay, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Approval of the minutes. You have both the May 23rd regular meeting minutes and May 23rd closed session meeting minutes. Closed session was put on your table. The regular meeting is in your packet.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes, closed session and regular.
All right, all in favor? Thank you. All right, number 5, public comment.
There are none.
All right. Number 6, I open this public hearing. And at this time, I will recuse myself since I'm part owner of one of the properties. So I'll turn it over to Ben.
All right. I think we got a speaker.
All right.
All right, so my name's Todd Justice. I'm the planner for the town of Hildebran. About a month ago, the town administration put forward the request that the council consider removing the mobile home overlay from 2 lots here in the town that are currently zoned as R10 residential, which is high density residential, but with a mobile home overlay over top of those that allow the property owner to put a mobile home park there on that lot. The town would like to have those mobile home overlays removed in the hopes that we can get if there's any interest in the property, a developer will come in and put stick-built either multifamily or single-family homes on the lots and not feel inhibited by the mobile home overlay, which is currently there. So what we're doing, and it requires a public hearing and approval of the town council, is we are going to make changes to the official zoning map of the town, and that requires a public hearing and consideration of the council. So the only thing that we're going to be doing for the zoning map, and I provided a copy of that section of the 2 properties that we're talking about in the packet, is removing those mobile home overlays from lots 208 US 70 East and lot 327 US 70 East. So what happens is the mobile homes that are on those two lots now are what is left of them, become non-conforming, which means that they cannot be replaced and the property owner cannot bring a new mobile home onto the property after the overlay has been removed. If a new property owner or the current property owner wanted to reestablish a mobile home park on either of those lots, they would have to petition the town to do that, have the overlay added back to the property, the overlay added back to the property, and the town council would have to approve that. I presented this to the planning board, whose responsibility it is to review the comprehensive plan and ensure any changes to the zoning ordinances or the zoning map will be in compliance with the town's long-term comprehensive plan. And they decided that it would not interfere with the comprehensive plan if this changed. So essentially what would happen, we open this up for public discussion. You guys debate amongst yourselves, you hold a vote. If you decide to remove the overlay, then the mayor and the clerk will sign the new overlay map, or excuse me, the new zoning map, and that will get posted in here and online and all that, so that it is available to the public. Are there any questions from the council? Pretty straightforward, I think. So if you want to open it up for public comment.
Any discussion on this matter?
Say something.
Sure.
My name is Eric Gabriel. I actually put an offer on the subject property that he's talking about. I have a mobile home park up Liberty Church Road, kind of past the airport. I have a list of about 250 people that are looking for housing in the price point of $800 to $900. Those homes in there are in really good condition. The 4 lots that need homes for people who are really crying for it. They're all set. They have electricity, they have water, they have sewer. I know there's a lot of land. There's a lot of businesses in the area. They need employment that's not that won't strain their budgets. Mobile home parks are designed for that. That was my son. He just got the list of all the people that are kind of looking in that area. I haven't got the offer accepted yet. It really doesn't matter whether or not homes get put back in. There's 4 vacant lots. But really just what we do is we fix them up and we make affordable housing for people. And so I'm just kind of petitioning for all these people. Lots of stories. There's just recently there's a lady who just is aging out of foster care. She was able to afford housing. She can't afford anything else. There's nothing in the market that's available. No new housing that hits her price point is available. Mobile home parks are being eradicated because they're unpopular. They don't, historically, they were unsightly and not cared for by the previous owners. So we're going in there. I actually, my family, my wife's Korean, we owned a school in Korea. Sold that business, lived in Korea. They grew up in Korea. We moved here, and this is what we do. So we try to save affordable housing for people. Then we have some in Portland, Oregon too, but it's not affordable anymore. So that's really all I have to say. Just keep the people who really need this product in mind. Do you have any questions?
Any other comments?
Okay, I'll go on to B.
Need to close that public
Need
hearing.
to close the public hearing.
I
Well,
thought-
Brad needs to close the public.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
To close the public hearing? Okay.
Now you're gonna be-
Okay, B is our fiscal year 22-23 budget ordinance and schedule of fees. And I open this public hearing, if anyone has any comment about our budget. Okay, if hearing none, I will close this public hearing. All right.
You want me to go ahead and move on to old business?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, 7A, consider approval of ZMA 2002-1, removing mobile home park overlay at properties located at 208 US Highway 70 East and 327 US Highway 70 East. Any discussion? No. Well, so go ahead and call, okay? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to remove the mobile home park overlay properties at 208 US Highway 70 and 327 US Highway 70.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed?
Okay, thank you, Ben. We'll go to 7B. Hang on.
The budget ordinance.
Oh, we added Chad in as 7B.
Yes, I'm sorry.
See,
Or
Okay,
do we want to do 7C?
let's do that. Let's get this.
Okay, so move forward with the budget ordinance and schedule of fees.
yeah, consider approval of fiscal year 22-23 budget ordinance and schedule of fees.
I do have one additional piece of information. The budget is the same as what you read in the packet. There were very few changes on this one, but there is one item I got some additional information this afternoon. I need to add $250 to the public, to the county grant match for next year. We had one of them that we thought was put on hold, and it's starting to come in now, and it's for Project Downey over, it's the bedding company. And I spoke to Scott Cook at the county today, and they've added 19 jobs, so they're paying a substantial portion of the grant to them now, and they're waiting on the state to close out the grant. So later on, when we do the budget amendments, we'll need a budget amendment for this year in the amount of $2250, and then we're adding $250 to next year's budget. So we'll pay that portion once the state finally closes it out. But they've added 19 jobs here in town, so it's going to a good purpose. But anyway, that $250, so if you approve the budget, you want to approve it with the additional $250 for the grant match with the county.
All right, any discussion among the council?
I have a question on page 2 of 5, auditorium rental for 2021-22. You have $5,000 and then recommended draft 500.
Yeah, just because we had a regular renter in there who's not in there right now, so it's just kind of up in the air. And once we have a regular renter long term, then we can switch that with the budget, no problem.
Okay. And then the salary amount, is that what we had discussed before that we agreed on?
That was 7, right now it's 7% that was originally put in the budget. Council has discussed it, but council has given no direction yet on what their final decision is if they want to change it.
How does the council feel?
Yeah, during our budgeting, we talked about 5% instead of 7%. I'm not sure, we did vote on that time, so I'm not sure how the rest of the council stands with it, but I mentioned that one time.
Okay, how's the other council feel? Being we can't see your nod.
Yeah, I will be fine with 5.
See you.
Other council members?
5.
All right, so unless there's anything else, we will go ahead. I'll ask for a motion
As amended.
as amended. Thank you.
Make a motion to approve as amended.
Okay, all in favor? All right, thank you. Now we go to code enforcement.
I see everybody again. I'm Chad Powell, code enforcement officer for the town. I'm gonna go over the quarterly report for the second quarter of 2022. Everybody should have a copy out in front of them. I'm just gonna go over that information. The second quarter, which is April through June, we've had a total of 44 violations in that time period. 21 of those are nuisance trash, junk, or debris. 11 of those have been nuisance grass or plant overgrowth. 2 of those are non-residential buildings minimum standards. 3 were minimum housing standards, and 7 were junk or nuisance vehicles. Moving on to our resolved violations during the second quarter, we've had 47 total resolved. The resolved are as follows: 28 of those were nuisance trash, junk, and debris. 9 of them were nuisance grass or plant overgrowth. 7 were junk or nuisance vehicles. Minimum housing, we had 1 of those resolved, and non-residential building, we had 2 of those resolved. That is my second quarter report of things that are going on. You also have in front of you the June report. I actually send a monthly report at the end of each month to Logan, but I will be here going forward every quarter to do the quarterly report to you guys. If you have any questions or issues, feel free to bring it up.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. What's the process of, like, file, well, not a complaint, I guess, but concern, I mean, like, you see something that you need to
Yeah,
take
we've
out.
got it online. If you go to the Western Piedmont Council of Governments website, or I believe the town website actually links through to it. We've got an online form on there that anybody can submit a concern or anything like that. Anything that I receive through that channel, I investigate it as soon as I can. So, that's a pretty good avenue to get a hold of me.
Does the council need to take any action on this? Okay. Anybody else got a comment? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
For the job you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, update on Royal Park architect bidding process.
Okay, so yes, the mayor and I met with, Bob Talley and Heath Roberts, Italian Smith Architecture on May 4th, to discuss the tower and the, on Royal Park. So for Royal Park, we had the, bidding process set for, I believe it was June 3rd. We did not receive, any submittals for the RFP. So we did submit that to 3 different firms. We did advertise it, set it out. We did not get any questions to answer back to. So what we've done, we've reopened the period for people to submit a bid. We do have at least one interested firm that I know is going to submit a response this next time around. The biggest thing to note is that we do not have to have 3 bids. You just have to have 1. What'll happen is once we do one qualified bid, right? So what'll happen, once we get that bid or multiple bids, we'll go through those, identify one that we wanna, negotiate with. Then at that point, we can sit down with that firm, negotiate out a price, and bring that to council. So, but until that point, I believe we set, July 10th, don't quote me on that, as the date for the next submittal. But once we get that, we'll bring that back to council next month and have you vote on something. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. All right, consider approval of digital sign policy, and that is in your packet. Hope everyone's read over it. Alice, did you have anything to add?
I tried to think of every scenario possible.
But I like the last thing you put down there.
That's why that's there.
Yeah,
But, yeah, it was kind of all over the place what we were doing and just to try to get some consistency and again, think of every possible thing that we could think of to go ahead and address now. But understanding that there could still be something that comes up and that'll be a case by case basis.
how does the council feel about it?
Make a motion to accept that policy on the digital sign.
All in favor? All right, thank you. Okay, 8, new business. 8A, consider approval of COVID-19 emergency paid sick leave and facility closure policy.
Okay, yeah, and I'll cover that for a brief second. So, the following policy details our COVID-related leave and office closures due to COVID. The COVID hours listed in this policy were originally approved as one of only 4 reimbursable COVID expenditures in the U.S. Treasury's interim final rule. The interim final rule was the initial set of accepted uses for ARPA dollars, and it detailed out the accepted categories within that. This policy allots COVID hours in the manner that they were originally approved in both the interim final rule and the final rule. By doing this, these hours are paid for via ARPA monies, not general fund monies. So while this is good news, when the final rule came out on January 6th of this year, the U.S. Treasury actually enabled all municipalities to use ARPA monies for COVID hours, but on top of that, to use them for regular salaries, benefits, sick time, and vacation time, retirement, etc. So even if we approve this policy, none of the hours are funded via the town's general fund for this year, but it'll also fund all town salaries, benefits, etc. For fiscal year 22-23, as well as portions of salaries in the first quarter of fiscal year 24-25. So ultimately, what will end up happening is you'll save your entire ARPA award of $583.86 on salaries. And like we discussed in the budget retreats, what this does is this frees up money in your general fund to go to your projects, like your park, sidewalk, tower, etc. So what this policy does not offer, it does not offer any EMFLA hours. That was something that the ARPA policy did a lot. We won't pay for that out of town money if that's something. It actually expired with the national emergency. So, but the other thing this policy does cover is COVID closures and how staff will address an office closure. It was modeled, at least that portion, after our snow day policy that's already on the books. This policy expires either on December 31st, 2023, or once we've allocated all the ARPA dollars. So again, you won't be spending any of this, you won't be spending any town money on this policy, nor on the, even though it's not part of this policy, any of the salaries next year or the first quarter of the year after that. So at this point, staff recommends approval, and we do need a motion to vote.
Any comments?
I'm just curious. When was the office actually closed? Was that on the Thursday when you sent out the email? Was it closed that Thursday?
We
May.
were, we were here till, I think I left at 4 that day, and I think Rick stayed until 5.
Yeah,
So
when
it started that Friday.
Friday and it was closed, what, Friday, Monday,
Friday,
Tuesday?
Monday, and Tuesday.
Monday was
until we-
holiday, and then was anybody back in Tuesday?
Yeah, I was in the office because I had been, working next to him. And I'd sit like this for the whole meeting before after he came back from his trip. So I figured if I was exposed, I was going to
We
be
hadn't got
exposed.
the office cleaned yet. We didn't
Oh,
get
that
it
was my
cleaned
next
until,
question.
Yeah, we had somebody come in and spray the office and
and
I
we
think
came
it,
in right after that same day.
No, what day was that?
But now they did run into an issue.
was that Wednesday morning?
Wednesday?
Yeah, they tried to come in one day and their sprayer broke, so they had to come back in the next morning.
Yeah, we opened at 9:30 that morning.
I think, yeah, as soon as they went.
Wednesday. Okay. Thank you.
I had a question about some of the wording. It just wasn't real clear, Logan. If the office is closed and the employees are at home, they are teleworking. Is that correct?
Yes, that should be in the policy as an option. Yeah, unless they have COVID and are taking
Right.
COVID time, correct.
Right, I guess.
And it does refer to a telework policy, but that's something you're gonna vote on later in this meeting. The actual telework policy.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve COVID-19 emergency pay sick leave and.
All in favor? All right, thank you. All right, now consider approval of telework policy.
I can cover the major points on that as well, if you want to. Okay, yeah, if you'll turn to, even though we switched on the agenda, turn to tab 8B. So the scope, I'll just go through the highlights. With the approval of the town manager, employees may perform assigned work at work locations other than the employee's customary office at town hall, 1 day per month. However, if an employee has a virtual training that spans more than 1 day within a month, with the approval of the town manager, the employee may telework more than 1 day per month to complete the virtual training. If there's any type of extreme circumstances, they might do it for more than a day. Again, that would have to be on a case-by-case basis. This policy does not create a contract of employment for employees. If any conflict exists between this policy and any other rules, policies, laws, regulations, then those shall go, not this policy. The telework policy is not a basis for changing the employee's salary, job responsibilities, benefits, or any other conditions of employment herein. The employee shall be available during the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., or if there's an approved alternate schedule by the town manager. They'll still be expected to respond to calls, messages, or other communications directed to the employee at the telework location. Moving on to Article 2, the workspace. So when working from home, the employee shall provide a designated workspace at the telework location identified above for the purposes of performing work for the town. Flipping over to the next page. The town will be under no obligation to maintain or repair any structure at the telework location or the workspace contained therein. All maintenance of the remote structure is the responsibility of the employee. The employee shall not conduct face-to-face meetings at the telework location. That was another big. So moving on to Article 3, telework equipment. All equipment, supplies, or other property provided by the town under the telework policy remains property of the town. The town assumes no responsibility for employee-provided equipment and will not service or repair such equipment. The town also does not reimburse for the cost of home workspace, broadband, internet access. Moving on to Article 4, liability, the determination of compensability for remote worksite injuries or occupational disease shall be determined like any other off-site location for the purposes of workers' comp. An employee who chooses to work from home understands that the town will not be liable for any injuries to third parties or for damages to an employee's personal or real property while the employee is working at the approved remote location. Moving on down to Article 5, use of private cars for attendance at office meetings or reporting to work at town hall location will not be reimbursed. So for example, if they are doing work from home, they'd have to come to the office, they don't get any reimbursement for mileage. That would be seen as coming to work like any other day. Going on the back page, the only thing I highlighted here for work expectations, the employee is subject to the same performance standards and is expected to satisfy all job responsibilities and performance requirements of the employee's position, regardless of whether they're teleworking or at the town office. Its effective date takes effect July 1st, 2022, if approved. I can answer any questions.
How does that affect the person who's in the office who has to cover for the person who's working from home?
And again, that's one of the things I think council talked about during the budget retreat, is it's not something we would want to do consistently, constantly, basically more than necessary. So again, it's only 1 day per month. But to answer your question on how it affects us, whatever workload would normally come in via rentals, even though we don't accept tax payments, you get people who come in all the time who want to make tax payments, phone calls for the office, that responsibility would shift to the individuals who are there, essentially.
Any other questions?
Well, I'll be the bad guy. I'm not really comfortable with this policy, because for one thing, there's no way to monitor. And, I feel like there'd be a possibility of abuse. And then I'm not comfortable with anything being taken out of the office that possibly shouldn't be removed from the office, so I'm not comfortable with it.
I think though we have to trust our staff to know that, that ultimately Logan's gonna be responsible. So if the work is not getting done the way it should be, then Logan will have to address it. We just need, I think that I have to make this available to just try to be helpful in case there's gonna be emergencies come up, things that come up, the classes, the training that I have to have, things like that is gonna come up. And as far as the workload, it's not gonna be any different than if they were on vacation or sick time. Somebody's already in staff, already in the office, will have to take care of it anyway. So I think it ought to be made available to them. And we just have to trust our staff and trust Logan to make sure it's not mishandled and handled properly.
Anyone else, Terry? Well, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Make a motion for telework.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? All right, all opposed? Okay.
One thing you might want to do is just approve it for COVID-related reasons, because it is referenced. For example, if we're closed for COVID, you may want to make the policy active, or
Oh, because it's already in COVID thing.
well, the COVID policy references the telework policy is what they're supposed to do at home. So you may want to approve this just as a telework COVID policy in conjunction with the COVID-19 emergency paid sick leave and facility closure policy.
So you would need a motion for telework policy concerning any COVID-related illness?
Yeah, that's how I word it. Just, it's only active if you're under a COVID closure.
Okay, I'll make that motion for telework during COVID illness.
Okay. All in favor? All right, thank you. All right, 8C, consider approval of event liability insurance policy. And that is in your packet also, I believe. Let's see.
Yes, and so for this, we've actually been in talks with League of Municipalities based on all the events we're going to have in the festivals. This is something we're gonna ask council to table until the next meeting.
Okay.
Once we spoke with them, they wanted to send down a specialist to kind of clear up a few issues, so before we have council vote on it, we wanna have that meeting. So we'll postpone it to next month if council's able. And we'll
Okay. All right, 8D, consider approval of draft comprehensive master plan. I'm sure all of y'all read all that.
Yeah, well,
There
we
are.
So, yeah, so the plan that you actually have before you, what we learned is that if you don't have a comprehensive master plan within the last 10 years, then, I believe starting in July, you cannot enforce your code enforcement ordinances. So what this is not the final plan like you actually have the meeting going on tonight down below for the comprehensive master plan. This is basically our older plan, but it's been slightly revised to include some things that are applicable now. For example, you have some sewer issues listed in the old plan. You don't own that anymore, so stuff like that was removed. This would be nothing more than a stopgap plan to do us until we get the actual plan approved that they're doing now. And we made a motion out of it.
I just wanted to make a comment. I did look through this and I was really surprised that a third of the population makes $25,000 or less. I was shocked at that. But I'll make a motion to approve the draft of comprehensive master plan.
All right, all in favor? All right, thank you. 8E, consider approval of budget amendments for reimbursement of payroll and benefits.
Okay, so for 80, if you will turn to that tab, you also have a sheet titled ARPA expenditures, should be at your spot. So what this is, when we talked about it during the COVID policy, this is us allotting our first $214,213.52 of ARPA funds towards this year's salaries. So we've already paid for out of the general fund the first 3 quarters of the year for salaries, so that it includes salaries for both office and maintenance staff, health insurance costs, workers' comp, retirement, and payroll taxes. So that's already been paid for this year. What you're doing is you're reimbursing the town's general fund with the ARPA money. So this will cover your first 3 months, or first 3 quarters of town salary. What we'll do, the one you see below the projections for the current year, once we come back for the 4th quarter, once we finish paying out everything for this year, next 3 days, we'll come back and reimburse that 4th quarter plus the following years. Now, these were assumed at 70% amounts. The projections following year where you see 317, 834. So that'll come down slightly, and then your remaining at the very bottom, that 33,514.19, it'll go up slightly. But what it'll do is that remaining amount will cover that first quarter of fiscal year 23-24. And so it'll just cover a larger portion of whatever's available. But so yeah, we'll need a motion of both council to reimburse the general fund with COVID dollars, ARPA monies.
I'll make that motion.
All right, all in favor? All right, thank you. Okay,
We still have another one to add to that, that budget amendment for the Project Downey grant. We need one for this year, so I can go ahead and write them a check this week for the first portion to cover that job creation and building, they did a building reuse. It's in the amount of $2,250. The other $250 was added to next year's budget previously, so we just need a motion and approval for that budget amendment for this year.
I'll I'll make that motion for budget amendment for this year for $2,250.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, I got a little mark here saying something's goes here.
The, review officer resolution, it should be on your desk.
Okay. The review officer.
So Todd is leaving us this, Todd Justice, this upcoming week is his last week. So we do need to, update our review officer with the county. And in talking with Kay Rollins, she's the clerk to the Work County Commissioner, she suggested making our manager the review officer instead of having to change this every time the planner leaves.
Which is about every 90 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like five lives, they come, they stay 90 days and they go.
Yeah, and our planners would still review them, it would just be me giving the final, signature for it, but they would still get reviewed just the same as they would, whether I'm the review officer or the planner. Planner would still review it.
Okay. How's the council feel about this?
Fine with me.
Okay.
It's a motion to the county commission to appoint Logan as our formal review officer.
I'll make a motion for the county commissioner to appoint Logan the review officer.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you. All right, then there was another one in here. What was that?
Closed session.
Close, oh, is that our next? Okay.
Oh, was there something?
No, that's down below announcements.
That's it, that.
Oh, I think we gotta get into the county when that's.
June facility reports.
Your own facility.
Okay,
Oh, no, yeah.
okay. June facility reports, that's in your packet. I don't guess, is there any questions about that? All right. May
I'll add one thing about the city. The trailer has been removed over there, and as you've seen, it's nicely graded, so we'll recommend somebody, put some grass seed and some straw down, so we won't have erosion. But Mr. Gillen did a good job getting it out.
Good.
There's no parts of the trailer still on the ground, so you must have some.
Ready for grass, huh?
I think so. It's great, it's graded. I mean, it looks, that's the best that area looked in maybe forever.
Now, I just wanted to say to get it on the minutes, we did sell the trailer for $1,750.
Oh,
That was the highlight.
Wow.
Well, that was good.
And got it removed at no cost.
Goodbye.
I was afraid we couldn't pay to get it moved.
All right, so now we move to tax report.
Yes.
May tax report, that's in your packet. May deputy report, that's in your packet. Gary's not here, so, okay, committee reports. Technical coordinating committee,
Nothing to report.
okay, transportation advisory committee,
Okay, this meeting was held on Wednesday, June 27th, COG. Announcement was made that Brian Horton, the Community and Regional Planning Director, had accepted a position in Charlotte, and Avery Ritchie will be taking his place. For Division 13, Hannah Cook noted minimal remaining work on exit 112 should be completed by this summer. The STIF, State Transportation Improvement Program, made 2 revisions to projects in Burke County, moving them from 2022 to 2023. The next meeting is scheduled for August 24th, and Alice, I have copies.
Good job.
do you have something?
No, that's
I-
a good report, thank you.
Thought I heard you talking. Okay, Western Piedmont Council Government Policy Board.
the meeting was last month. I sent y'all the agenda, but I did forget my minutes, so sorry.
Burke Economic Development,
Nothing to report.
Recreation and Tourism,
Nothing to report.
Water Resource Committee, Vedic,
You got it right.
I get it right about half the
About
time.
half the time. Okay, that met on June 23rd at the Hildebran Park Depot at 11:30. The members were very complimentary about the park. There were 2 or 3 of them that got lost in Hildebran trying to find the park. So we had to relay, I had to relay the directions through Carrie so that they could find the park. But Betty thanked the town for hosting the meeting, and I think you will be getting a thank you card from Carrie pretty soon. Carrie gave the financial report, and the town of Valdez reappointed Forrest Fleming and T.R. Robinson to the Vetting Board. New officers were elected and approved. Chairman Sherry Long, Vice Chairman Tanya Stevenson, Secretary Sherry Bradshaw, Treasurer John Barrett. The budget for 22-23 was approved, and Carrie thanked all the towns for their contribution for the support. There were no new loans to consider, but there's 5 applications in the process. And if they get through the process, then we will be hearing those at the next meeting, which is on July the 21st at the Morganton Community House. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
All right, Burke County Library Board of Trustees, we meet tomorrow down here at our library. And the Comprehensive Master Plan Steering Committee.
We didn't have a meeting this month, just going on right now downstairs, they postponed it to
Okay. All right, so that's all our committee reports. Under other business, I wanted to mention something. The Christmas parade. I talked to Johnny Childers. He said HHDA would like to do the Christmas parade this year since it was pretty unpopular that we didn't have it last time. Lynn Mull she's gonna coordinate everything, but we know people are gonna call the town hall. So Alice, you're gonna have to take whatever. You can work with Lynn, can't you?
Yeah, normally I'll go ahead and take the applications and every so often I send them to her.
Okay, good.
I had
Comment
some.
about that.
I had someone mention to me also, maybe we could, get the, information for the people who have brought cars to the cruise in
Oh,
and send out information on the parade to them and see if they'd like to participate and be in the parade.
okay,
That would be nice.
They have all the information, so
they can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll bring it up to Johnny, see what they got. I'm not sure if they have addresses. I know people go and sign in for their cars, but I don't know if they have addresses for all
They
of
can
them.
hand out a flyer.
And a flyer, okay, okay. All right, is there any other business anybody would like to talk about?
Well, I think we've gotten the, issue with having multiple meetings on one night taken care of, right, Logan?
Yes.
Okay. I've had several people comment to me about the kudzu behind the Christian Ministries and Town Hall. And if we could just get that sprayed by the landscape folks, not trying to take it down or anything, just spray it so it goes back a little bit. Because it's encroaching more and more on the building.
Good line, usually takes care of that if you contact them.
On our property too.
On that bank,
Mhm.
I looked at today, it's got a lot of cookie on it.
Yeah, it's coming up on
So
in the
food-
yard at Christian
food line
Ministries. So if we could check on that. Several people have mentioned the cruise in with the road closure. All the traffic comes down 3rd Avenue Southeast, and it's a lot of traffic.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of people who, I guess maybe they PO'd because the road's closed. They come flying down through there. We need to look at something because there's people walking up to the cruise in, and there's traffic coming both directions. I don't know if we can look at maybe I looked online. There are temporary speed bumps that we could put out, speed limit signs, temporary. But I think we need to look at that sooner rather than later.
Could we get Gary to work that night and have him maybe park out there somewhere?
Maybe.
Huh?
And burn up.
Run the air conditioner.
That
Oh,
It is bad out through there.
Okay, well, what does the council think?
You may have to, pay for that service to have him out there, but if that's something that we need to do, we can look at that, get
Okay,
a number and bring it back at the next meeting.
we have
When
a
the
cruise
cruise
in.
is over, don't they open the road back up?
This is during the cruise in.
Oh, during it, okay.
This is not, well, once it opens back up, you're fine.
Yeah.
But this is when it's shut down for it.
That's what
So everybody, they send everybody that way.
I'm trying to think, is the cruise in before the meeting? Our next meeting?
Yeah, it is. It's the 23rd, I think.
Okay. How can we handle that?
Assuming it's less than, I believe, 5,000, I can do a manager's transfer within a department and then bring you a budget amendment next month. Do
Okay,
it that way.
all right, is that
And
acceptable?
also talk to Jacob Reynolds and see if there are any, auxiliary deputies that would come down here and park their cars with the flashers on them and going. And that generally has a chilling effect on people.
Don't slow them down.
If they see them, if they see them, it's
Then
gonna
I
make
see-
a
then
difference.
I see them red lights come on, I go,
We can stand out there and go.
you tell me where we meet, I'll be, you tell me where we meet, I'll be right there with you. You gotta have chairs, I can't stand all night.
Okay. Other business.
I just had one, you know, I know about the kudzu, we need to do something for kudzu, but I don't know if we can kill that off because it might cause the erosion problem. So we need to talk to the landscaper and see what can be done without creating another problem. Because kudzu is actually designed to hold around it, you know, to keep it from eroding. I don't know if there's any grass or anything to extend with that, I think kudzu, I kind of doubt it, but
No,
Yeah,
you
because
don't have to
kudzu
worry
kills
about it, you can't kill it.
you can't get it. As long as the ground don't, I don't want to create another trouble.
It's a disease.
Anybody in town got any friendly goats? Goats will take care of kudzu.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we got a bunch back here. if we
The
wanna
goat lady.
get these people.
They still got their goats back there?
No, they don't.
I didn't think I'd seen them. That's what I was asking.
Okay.
Didn't eat them.
They still got their, little houses and stuff out there where they had them. I didn't see them goats.
Okay, announcements. The last weekend in July and the first weekend in August, there will be a play in our auditorium. And I hope that the town will come out and support this because we need to use our auditorium. The more we use it, I think the more it will be used. And who knows, you might see somebody that you know in the play.
Or we put some sign, digital sign and do flyers
And I think we can.
and promote the town.
Well, and just as an update, so I did get a hold of, Bach alum, architect. So he's coming by this Wednesday to look at it, kind of get a scope of work and then, present a contract to the town, for the work. So maybe we'll have something next month for that, just as an FYI.
Okay. Any other announcements?
Do we need to take these closed session?
You pass back for me.
The closed session from May.
Whoops. Oh, okay.
Everybody,
I'm working on that. I've got
He's
to,
looking.
my pack got out of order. These meetings on that side.
Now you know how I lose things, Mike.
I had all these extra things up here and I got it all mixed up when I was trying to sort it out.
Easy to do.
You can go ahead and carry on with that one.
All right, do we want to make a motion for closed session?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
All right, all those in favor? Okay. Thank y'all for coming tonight. you can stay and come back in, but there probably won't be anything else after. So. But thank everyone for coming tonight. Yes.
About that.